Welcome to Court and Soul. Shout out to Steph for connecting us. I really appreciate it. I tried, did a little digging into your background, and I saw two things that really stuck out to me. One is something called Open Your Impact, and one is Open Up Founder.
Yeah.
So you're the founder of Open Up. So what's Open Your Impact?
So Own Your Impact is
Own
it's
Your Impact, sorry.
no, not a problem. So that's a initiative that I've been heavily involved in over the last year, which is my friend Kareem South's initiative, just to help people, help youth around gun violence and talking about mental health, mentorship, and really just kind of what it looks like to have community beyond sports. So it's owning the impact that we have in the world and how we show up, given the platforms a lot of us as athletes have. And then Open Up is my startup, which is a platform for high performers to get mental wellness and performance support. We use AI to match people with mentors, resources, and communities that are specific to their situation, with the hopes of getting them a one-on-one mentor over the course of 6 weeks to really just giving them the tools they need to succeed when they're doing the hard thing.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I think people are now noticing the importance of mentorship,
Mm-hmm.
the impact that it has.
Yes.
I was lucky enough, I got to take a look at some of the videos you guys put out.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, it was incredibly resonating. I think one of the ladies that was being interviewed made a comment, and it was hungry man is man, and we have a lot of hungry youth.
Yeah.
Oh, these are note takers. I'm who's trying to get into this conversation? So I thought that, I'm that makes total sense. I remember back in high school and seeing that statement come to life.
Yeah.
Of a lot of even being a teacher and seeing students coming to school malnourished, acting up, and it's such a simple fix.
It really is.
So you played basketball at Waterloo?
Played
Back in the day. How long ago was that?
2021 was my last season at Waterloo, and I got a pretty bad injury. Then prior to that, I was at Acadia University for 4 years.
Okay, so you were at Acadia before. Yeah, I coached 1 year last year with at Waterloo with Jess.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it was tough. I have 2 young kids,
Mm.
and my son was less than a year.
Yeah.
And I'm I can't keep doing this to myself.
It's a very, very demanding schedule.
Yeah, for sure. Evenings and weekends, and it just doesn't fit. And it's unfortunate because I think a lot of women, we're missing out on a lot of good women coaches because of this.
Mm-hmm.
But such is life. So a lot of former athletes try to return to what's familiar after sport ends.
Mm.
You're building something new. What made you choose reinvention instead of return? Why not? I'm going to come back. And you talked about an injury, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But why did you decide to reinvent yourself?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And that I was lucky. I had a really great coach when I was in high school named Tyrell Vernon. So he's the head coach at Santa Fe. You know him? Yeah. So TV was one of those guys who always just told us, start thinking about who you are when the ball stops bouncing. And I went to a prep school. He was the head coach there. And I also went to the Hill Academy, and they really emphasized who we are outside of sports. So I think that by the time that I stopped playing, I had this really good idea of what I wanted to do. And, truthfully, reinvention wasn't as hard as I thought. It was just more time to do the things I was curious about. I was always curious about building companies and entrepreneurship and technology. And when I had this, these extra 30 hours a week, I was like, well, hell, what, I can go and do this now, and I don't have anyone yelling at me to get to practice or, to make sure I'm getting my shots up. So it was really interesting for me to fill that time with something that I was already passionate with. And, the truth of the matter is, I found it very fun to try and explore this new side of myself, but basketball never leaves, right? When I'm going through a tough time, I still find myself at a court or near basketball players, and I coach basketball and I'm a trainer and all this fun stuff. And the beachhead market for the thing that we're doing is young basketball players. So I found different ways to integrate myself with the sport from a different angle, but I took the time away from basketball to get excited. When I stopped playing in 2021, it was because of an injury. Like I had torn my Achilles the last day of training camp, and I think it was 2 years before I touched a basketball. I was like, I am done. And I didn't look at basketball, didn't care about basketball, didn't watch basketball, didn't even wonder. But after that time had come up and all these things happened in my life, I found myself back in sport periodically.
Yeah, and I think I'm actually very impressed that that was a conversation that happened.
Mm,
Who are you going to be afterwards? And I don't feel like enough coaches do that. I feel like there is a very, especially in the basketball community, a ball is life
yeah.
attitude towards everything. And you got to play pro and not understanding that there are other avenues that you got to explore that you could still, keep the basketball there
Yeah.
and help impact other people with it positively.
Yeah.
So that's very impressive, and you don't see a lot. And I feel like a lot of people struggle, and you probably saw that with your own teammates, where they're just like they're hanging on.
Hmm.
It's time, it's time to move on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've played with some current NBA players, former NBA players, pro players across the globe. And you get to see this from different angles, right? Like when people are hanging on, some people that are not that good and go get a terrible contract in a third world country just to say that they played pro basketball. And you talk to them and I'm like, you can make twice as much minimum wage here in Canada. Why are you doing this? Just to say you're a pro hooper? Excuse me.
Bless you.
Um,
Yeah, you're totally right. And I think a lot of them, they're getting like paid like $500 a month. And it'd be different if like you're enjoying the experience and you're still passionate, but a lot of them are miserable. They're like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm getting paid nothing. You're coming home, you can't even save enough to like do something when you come home. And then you're behind.
yeah,
Even though we have all these skill sets as athletes, you still need some sort of work experience or some sort of or at least if you were making money, at
mm,
least you come back and invest that somewhere. But you
yeah,
can't even do that.
yes, yes, yes. It's hard when people aren't aware of the implications that are happening because they're prolonging the inevitable. And I think that there's obviously unique situations where somebody maybe is like this is the only thing that they can do, right? Like this is the only skill that they have. Maybe they left college early and whatever else, and like they're like for the next 5 to 10 years this is what I'm doing, and you're okay with that. But for the majority of players it's more about their ego and less about the circumstances that they're in. And I've seen some people with like from good families who are like, like this is what I want to do. And even for myself, I had some opportunities to go and play pro even after my injury. Um, and I looked at it like this: like I was working a good job after my injury. One of my coaches was the head of Angola basketball, and he was like, "We can get you a contract. You can come to Angola. You get paid 6 figures USD." And I looked at him and I said, "Genuinely, I don't think it will be fun for me to be in Angola because I don't speak the language." And I was like, "And it's not like I'm in Europe where I can go and travel, right?" So it's just like, and you guys want
Close together, right? You
yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah.
fly to the next country.
No, like I was just like Angola is nice, but I was like, it doesn't feel like the right place for me. And I have other friends who are like, what, I'm gonna play pro basketball for 2 to 3 years and then just see the world. And I think that's fine, right? Like some people are like, that's just like I didn't get to go on one of those like graduation trips, so I was like, I'm gonna go play pro, and that's
And
cool.
backpacking through Europe, that
Yeah,
dream.
yeah, I'm like, that's a cool way to see the country and like see the continent and whatever else. But
At least there's a plan there. There's a
yeah,
plan. You have a mindset. You know what you're going to do next. Some people are just like hanging on.
yes.
Not sure why.
And I think it's just because they're afraid of all the parts of themselves they didn't really confront, right? Like they're like, okay, for all these years I never got to do X, Y, and Z, so I'm going to just keep doing the things that feel comfortable, and that's not where growth happens. As we know, as athletes, like you have to get uncomfortable, and like you got to let go of the version that you used to be to step into who you're becoming.
100%. So, did you feel like you already had transformed out of being an athlete, which I think you already kind of touched that, or did the accident kind of force that more? Like you had to confront that a little faster than you thought. Like you're like, okay, I'm pushing myself, but now you're like, okay, this is a bit of a setback. Is this
Yeah.
what I'm doing?
So yeah, I'll give some context to the accident. So like I think it was I tore my Achilles. I decided, like I'm gonna just focus on my master's program. And then 1 year to the day of me tearing my Achilles, I get in this like huge motorcycle accident. Have to learn how to walk, talk, take care of myself, all that fun stuff. And that was more of a jarring experience because the option to be an athlete was off the table, right? It was just like
Doctors tell you after that happened, was there that whole like speech of
the
you're never
doc
gonna play sports again?
the doctor said I'm never going to play sports again. They're like, that shouldn't be on the table. You should just focus about like just getting back to the day-to-day life. And I'm happy to say I can play basketball now and I can dunk, which is crazy.
Very crazy to hear.
Like I can dunk a basketball still, which is wild. And I'm still better than most of the kids that I coach, like bar none, which is hilarious to me. But for like I think it was like probably a good year and a half, almost 2 years, the identity of being a basketball player was not an option for me. It was not like it wasn't like, oh, I'm a capable athlete choosing not to play the sport. It was like I cannot do that, period. Right? Like my whole life I could shoot a free throw. My whole life. And I go to a point where I can barely get the ball up and over my head, right? So I think that it made me confronted in a different way because I had mentally prepared to transition out of sport prior to that accident, but I always thought that I could go back if I wanted, and God said no.
Had the option.
Yeah.
Like, well, if I need to, or if I miss it, it's there.
But then, the universe said no. You're going to sit here and do nothing except just sit with your thoughts. And that was a really hard place to be. But it forced me to do other things. And the thing that really helped me was the motorcycle community, ironically. So like I went back to riding bikes and I found a different way to do sports and have that like athleticism come out with the use of a motorcycle. So I started like, doing cross country trips and then riding bikes.
How long did it take you to get to that point?
1 year.
1 year is crazy. To recover from like an ACL, you're lucky if you're riding the bike in a year too.
Yeah. So
wow.
I tore my ACL, LCL, hamstring. I broke my like bones in my shoulder, my ribs, concussions, internal bleeding. I think it was like 5 surgeries or something like that. But I never got like my knee done. There's all these stabilizing surgeries.
Wait, your knee, you still don't have any ligaments in your knee?
No.
That's crazy.
And I can still dunk, so.
You don't feel like.
No. It doesn't feel too bad. Like maybe side to side every once in a while it will buckle, but for the most part it's stable.
God bless. Good for you.
I got lucky.
Yes. I
got very lucky. It's a miracle.
A miracle is a better word.
Yes.
So when basketball ends naturally, there's usually like a slow adjustment. Your accident obviously accelerated everything. Did it feel like 2 endings happening at once? Was there like a huge grieving process during this?
Yeah.
You're talking about like your recovery, but not as much like the mental side of it. Like how did you kind of push through that?
Yeah. So it was a lot of grieving from being this able-bodied, physically capable person, and now like my stature, I'm 6'5", like I'm in good shape, and I was working a good job, and I had another company actually right before, and all of that went away in the blink of an eye. So I lost my company, I lost the ability to do all the things that I wanted. I was in a pretty dark place for a couple months, but I don't know if it's sport or if just me being a crazy person, but like I kept on telling myself I was going to get out of the hospital in 2 weeks. So, I'm the first 2 weeks, I wake up, I tell everyone it's going to be fine. I'm out of here in 2 weeks. The doctors look left, they look right. They're like, huh? And every 2 weeks, I just kept saying, yeah, dude, it's just 2 more weeks. Like, I'm fine. And then once I got out there,
you sound like during COVID, they're like,
yeah. Exactly. It was the same kind of mentality where you're like, you're just going to get through this like next little push period. And we did. We got through it. And man, oh man, I think that I didn't really deal. I had one friend who had seen that I was active on social media pretty late at night, and he reached out to me. It was an old teammate of mine, and he was like, "Why are you up?" And I said, "Hey man, like I'll be honest with you. I'm in the hospital. I was in a really bad motorcycle accident."
So you didn't tell anyone?
No, no, no. I had like at the hospital, I told the people that were the closest to me, and then I kind of just like kept it under wraps for the most part. Um, and I talked to this one friend, and he called me, and he was like, "Yeah, let's chat. I know exactly what you're going through." And so we chatted the next day, and he told me he just finished up chemo, and he was just like, "I'm in the same boat where I can't play basketball anymore, and it's not my choice." So I get it, and that was a really powerful conversation. And like it inspired me to be like, okay, like I can get through this. Like, people are going through some tough stuff quietly as well. I'm not the only one. And like that one conversation made me feel very seen. And I did like a year of therapy, but that friend and I, his name was Junior. And we talked a lot after that. And unfortunately, he passed away late last year. But the entire time, like that was the driving force, and why I decided to build Open Up was because of that conversation. Because he made me feel really understood, where therapists really didn't understand what it was like to go from being this high performing person and then starting over. They're like, well, life happens. And he was just like, dude, like you and I both could jump 40 inches in the air, and now we're lucky if we can put on our shoes without help. Right.
It's crazy. And it's see, and sometimes it's not even like someone trying to give you a solution,
Yeah.
but having someone that understands you. Is
Yeah.
it just to like laugh at it together, even though it's kind of dark?
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
like, at least I'm laughing. At least I'm feeling something and not in my own head.
That's exactly it. It's like it's validation. It's like, hey, you're not the only one going through this, and we're gonna get through it. It sucks right now, but it is not the end of the world.
So do you feel like the competitor in you helped you kind of push through this? Or what was the driving force? Obviously conversations. Was there like family or someone that impact or mentored you kind of through it?
Yeah. So I think Junior in those conversations definitely like gave me some radical perspective, because like, yes, I nearly died, and so did he. But like, it gave you like, like, I was on a motorcycle. I could have not been on that motorcycle. He had cancer. He didn't get to choose if he got cancer or not. And I think that like it made me realize like I can't just roll over and die, right? Like I was like, I have to fight. Like I have to fight as hard as I can to get out of this situation. This isn't my reality. This is a circumstance, and
Mm.
circumstances can be temporary. And I really am 100% sure it's that competitive spirit in me that got me to the hospital. I had great people around me, people that cared, people that helped, but it was the ability to push myself further, because doctors are telling me you're not going to walk. Doctors are saying that you should probably like wait till you do this. And I was so determined to get back to normal that like within a year I did all those crazy things. And I remember it was like my birthday of the following year. So I got out of the hospital in like the end of October ish, maybe November. And that April, I went to the crash site and I just broke down. It was the first time I cried since the accident. And I was just like, I feel like I did it, because I went back to the crash site on a motorcycle.
Oh
And I
my,
was like, and I was like, I am confronting all the fear. I'm confronting all the pain. And I wasn't 100%. I wasn't great, but I was like, I am doing something. And I was in a lot of pain. But like, I was able to get to that point, and that was really helpful for me.
man. You got me like my eyes tearing up right now. That's beautiful. And I don't think enough people do that. You're like, there's this lingering fear inside you, and you said, I'm not gonna let it control my life, right?
Yes.
Some
Yeah.
people let it control your life, and it just gets worse. And it's sneaking into different parts of your life. And it's like it's a virus, it just starts to consume you.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I was very aware of. Fear is something that you can't let dictate your decisions. And I think that like even I think when I got out of the hospital, getting into a car was hard, let alone getting on a motorcycle was tough. But I was like, Jerome, if you don't do this, you'll never do it, right? You'll always be looking over your shoulder, and then you just kind of like let go, and you say, you know what, I'm just going to do it 110%, and whatever happens happens. And once you get to that place, it's very beautiful.
So do you feel like that was just a lot of self-talk? And do you think you got that as an athlete? Because you're on
Yeah.
that court sometimes. You got to talk your way out of situations. Like the whistle's not getting blown.
Yep, yep. You get used to all that self talk, and I think that like me as an athlete, I didn't have the most colorful career. I was pretty like level headed, but I never got fouled out. I never like in my entire career, I never got a technical or all those things.
Oh wow.
in my entire playing career, I never got teed up. I never fouled. Maybe in like ninth grade, maybe I fouled out, but more than that, like never fouled out. So for me, I was always very used to talking to myself calmly, and it was the same thing because when I was going through all that stuff, it was like, you can do this. And it was kind of like, a little bit more, a little bit more. Let's keep pushing. This isn't the end. And, you keep asking yourself, is this, are you injured or is this, or are you hurting? And that huge distinction, because like I had every excuse in the book just to be like injured. I'm like, like everything is busted. I'm just going to lay in bed. But I was just like, I can walk, and, like I can get out of bed today. I can try and go up the stairs, and you keep on doing that. And you just kind of like, incremental things, and over time you realize that you've gone so far. And it's the same thing with sport, right? Like you don't start off great, you go to the gym and you keep on putting in those reps. It was the same thing with my body, and it was really hard. It was really hard. I'll never forget, like when I went to the gym, I couldn't lift like even a broomstick over my head. That was really tough. Like physio, I remember like breaking down. I'm like, and to think I was like in 5 months ago I could bench press 400 pounds, and like right now I can't lift a broomstick over my head. But I was like, you know what, this is just a new beginning. So let's try. And we did that. And I still can't bench press as much as I used to be able to. That's never coming back, but I can do something. And that was like the excited thing. And again, like we're talking about, when it's like holding on for too long, I had to let go of who I was to figure out who I was becoming. And like I've set this goal for myself for this year, which is to do a high rocks competition. So, like that's like my North Star, and being like,
sorry, what is that?
high rocks. Oh man, it is this.
I hear that and I feel like it's like rock climbing.
So it sounds like rock climbing. You're not wrong. So high rocks is a endurance event that is 100% based on effort. So the format of the race is you run 1 kilometer, then you do a 1 kilometer ski row, like a skier thing, and then you run a kilometer, then you do a kilometer like row, and you run another kilometer, and then you do a kilometer
for endurance. That's crazy.
Yeah. You do a kilometer of sled push, and then you run a kilometer, you do a sled pull, then you run another kilometer, then you do lunges, then you run another kilometer, and then you do burpees, then you run another kilometer, and then you do 100 wall balls, and then you're done. So
you're done.
And then you're done. And like it sounded impossible. Like I saw all my friends doing it all these couple of years, and I'm like, I'm so messed up. There's no way, right? There's no way. And like I'm gonna try and do it this year with a partner and see how it goes.
That's sick. I'm so impressed right now. So, and I guess that was the follow-up question I was going to ask. Like, that the type of injury you had isn't okay, well, it's fixed now, because you were just talking about the bench press, and like there's limitations. So how are these limitations still affecting your life?
Oh yeah. So there's like I'll say like from worst to best. I'd say so cognitively is tough. So like I can't process information the same way I used to. Like sometimes I get overwhelmed and I drop the ball. That's just the nature of it. My like walking, like my body gets sore very easily. Trying to do like day-to-day tasks is tough. Like my shoulder's pretty messed up. There's like constant pain. So like I live in it, like my baseline is like like there's pain. And that's another mental.
You're in pain.
Exactly. Like I wake up, it hurts. And then you have a choice. Like I have a choice every day. Like, do I stay here? And sometimes I do. Sometimes I say, today hurts. And I'm going to sit here. And people are like, why aren't you doing anything today? I was like, I am in pain. So I am going to stay here.
You got to listen to your body. At some point, working through isn't the right answer.
Exactly. So I think that like it affects me like mentally a lot. Physically, the limitations aren't glaring anymore. Like they're more internal. Like I'm in pain. Like the range of motion in my shoulder is tough. The stability of the knee is really hard, and like my back hurts, my shoulders hurt, and vision surprisingly has gotten worse over time.
And you think that's from the accident?
100%. So like I had perfect vision, and I think that the ability to like concentrate tires out the eyes, and that's because of what I went through, right? So those are the things that I would say that really affect the injury. There's definitely a lot more that I deal with, but again, it's do I let this be a limiting factor in how I do my life?
Yeah, no, for sure. And your life is a testament to everything you're saying and doing. Um, so if you could give advice to someone that has gone through something similar or is struggling with their own like identity and transition,
Mhm.
what is something you would tell them?
Give yourself until tomorrow every day. Right. So I would say that every single time you're struggling with an identity, stick to something until tomorrow, each day that you wake up, and see how long you can do that for, and you will surprise yourself. Um, and that was the same thing with like my whole 2 weeks thing, right? Like I always just gave myself that timeline. You do it at the end of it, just do one more set of that. And when you're kind of like transitioning into something new, whether it's like life after sports, give yourself till tomorrow, right? Like, if you're, let's say you stop playing sports, you know that you can do something else. Try it for a day, and then the next day try it again, and build up those little wins, and don't be so focused on becoming somebody completely different. Just focus on winning that day, winning like one or two things that are in your control. The same way when we go into sports, whether it's practice or a game, we can only control the things that are in our control. And it's the same thing in life. So you pick those things and you focus on getting to tomorrow each day.
And can you talk a little bit about some of the mentorship you're doing, if you want
Yep.
to speak to that, so people
Yeah.
they want to reach out to you?
100%. That'd be great. So like open up. We're doing some mentorship. So for athletes, male and females, we're trying to bring on some female mentors over the summer, and the whole idea is we got like 6 weeks of mentorship once a week. We do it at $75 a session, so 450 I think for those 6 weeks, and you have one-on-one time with these mentors, and we have a like a curriculum where we give you some tools so that you're better equipped to go into the summer, whether you're playing travel sports or even just getting ready for the next year. And the mentorship is normally from people who've played at the level you're trying to get to. So if you're a high school person trying to go play in college, we'll get you a mentor there. If you're a college person trying to go play pro, we'll try and find you a mentor who's actually either played in college or is a professional or former
So
professional.
specific?
We're agnostic in terms of just like what we're doing. We're starting off with basketball. That's kind of like where our focus has been over the last 6 months, but we're looking to expand. We have some people in hockey and lacrosse, volleyball, and we're basketball right now. But the mentorship doesn't really discriminate. Like the lessons are the same.
That's awesome. Okay, Jerome, thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully you and I can chat a bit more on,
Yeah.
what else is going on with you.
No, honestly, not much. Uh, it's been an interesting season. So just like getting myself into this like mindset where continuing to build this thing out, trying to get more channels of like how to get these potential mentors and mentees for Open Up. But other than that, training. So I've given myself that purpose with that High Rocks goal, which has been great. And I just got out of this really tough slump. Like I'd say, like as things happen in seasons, I'd say like from November of last year till maybe March of this year, just dark time. And we're just on the other side of that hump, and we're just trying to stay positive. My birthday's this weekend, so that's fun too.
Getting to another birthday is always a blessing.
Amen. Amen.